Live from Harbor Station, it's the Vector Spaceman Show. Now here's your host, Vector Spaceman.
Hello, Space Cadets. It's your old pal, Vector Spaceman. Of course, we're back at it again and coming to you live once more from Harbor Station, broadcasting live on all frequencies to our beautiful planet Earth. Now, whether you're watching us live or maybe you're catching us after the show, don't you know we're glad to have you on board. Thanks for helping us make outer space the place to be tonight, Wednesday, February 21st, 2024. Hello, Space Cadets. It's me, your host, Vector Spaceman, here on the Vector Spaceman Show, of all places. And on a Wednesday of all days, what is that about? It's unusual, but it is what it is. If you're just tuning in for the first time tonight, then welcome aboard. And of course, a hearty welcome back to all of our regular and wonderful Space Cadets. We're streaming on an odd time this week due to wintry shenanigans, but it's all good. Tonight, we're continuing work on our little side project, the Spacevan Scroller minigame, Twitch-integrated and oh so charming. Tonight, we're going to improve some existing functionality and strive to complete another redeem to spice the game up a bit. Stick around to experience the wonder that is game development. Now, if you missed the last show, well, you really didn't miss that much when you think about it. We've been continuing to work in Godot the past couple weeks. I think we'll switch up and expand the schedule in the near future, especially since our latest animated skits are all done and dusted. Game dev, gaming, music, animation, all this and more here on the Vector Spaceman Show. So of course, if you want to stay up to date with all of our broadcasts so that you never ever miss a show, then be sure to follow Vector Spaceman on Twitter, YouTube, and of course, right here on Twitch. Space Cadets. So nice to see you all. I'm sorry that we couldn't get to stream last night on our usual time, as we usually would, as we usually do. But we had some technical problems up here on the station. The furnace went out, and of course, space is mighty chilly without central heating. It's all fixed up now, though. We're toasty warm, as a spaceman ought to be. Which means that we can get right back into part 3 of our Godot stream journey, Space Cadets. Yes! What a time that we've been having. I've done a little bit of work, a little itty-bitty bit of work, off-stream, just to get some of the boring parts out of the way. But we're going to make use of that progress tonight. We're going to work on assigning limits to our spawners. We're going to change the way that the spaceman moves around. And maybe get around to adding our first power-up item. Ooh, fun. Gamedev streams have been real fun, I gotta say. And I'm finding that I really enjoy the problem-solving, the creative problem-solving aspect that's inherent to the medium. In fact, here's something that I've not talked about on stream yet. I'm giving very serious thought now to participating in our very first game jam, Space Cadets. And thankfully, there is one being hosted by friends of the show and indie game developers themselves, Meg and Dawn of the Game Grotto. Shoutouts, links, let's have them. Hold on here. Big shoutout. I type things to the Game Grotto, hosted by Meg and Dawn. And of course, I gotta post a link. Do my due diligence. Here we go. To the game jam in question. Check it out. It's the Just for Laughs Game Jam, not affiliated whatsoever with the Montreal Comedy Festival, and it's going to be running during the last weekend of March into the first weekend of April, i.e. April Fools. Isn't that, on brand? And the theme is humorous games, so of course I'm interested. Of course I am. Maybe we'll feel confident enough by then to put something cool together. Maybe we'll put together a team if we don't feel like we've got, everything down pat. Maybe we could make it a group effort, our submission. Wouldn't that be cool to see? A weekend of streams, a game, start to finish. I think that's a pretty swell idea, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's a pretty swell idea. Also, hello, Rig, Big Rig. Hex yeah. Big shout out to the Game Grotto. Wonderful, fantastic duo. And of course, very cool little game jam that they're putting together. Check it out, everybody. Rig, of course, member of the Nova Swarm, who has released their own indie games in the past. We gotta get on that bandwagon. Get on that game dev bandwagon, as it were. Now, I had mentioned there during the intro, and I had almost forgotten, but last Wednesday, a week before today, was Valentine's Day, Space Cadets. I hope you all had a lovely day of love and loving and lovely things. And you know what we did on Valentine's Day? We released our latest Spaceman and Friends animated skit. So, why don't we take this little opportunity at the start of the show to revisit it? You know, we love to plug our work anywhere and everywhere that we can. We'll get around to that. It's going to be starring some of our favorite contemporaries and friends of the show. Check it out, you guys. It's this year's Valentine's Day skit. Let's turn down the volume here, make sure that the alerts are off, make sure that we do all this so that we don't get jump scared by something. There, alerts off, music down. Check it out, you guys. It's this year's Valentine's Day skit. Mail's here.
Hey there, Harbor Station crew. Happy Valentine's Day. Looks like someone sent you some cards.
Wow, really?
Here's one for Dragon.
Cool.
And here's two for Rig.
Nice.
And I've got just a few more here for the girls.
Ugh. You know, sometimes this holiday feels a bit discriminatory.
Who's your card from, Dragon? A secret admirer?
No, just my podiatrist. Guess it's time for another appointment.
Oh. Well, what about you, Rig? You got some kind of love triangle going on there?
Mine are from Ellie and Lyra. Thanks for being such a great squad mates.
Man, how are you both so gameless on Valentine's Day?
Hold on. What about you, Vector?
Yeah, I didn't see you get any cards.
Me? Well, who's got time for ladies, you know? Taking care of the station's already a full-time commitment. Plus, I don't know if you guys knew this, but Neff told me kissing girls makes you gay.
I'm pretty sure that's not what she meant.
No, that's right. Kissing girls makes you gay.
I think you mean kissing girls makes you gay.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Neff, you're a girl. Maybe you can help. What can guys like us do to better our chances with the ladies?
First of all, girls don't like boys. Girls like cars and money. And rocks. And cats. And spaceships. Oh, and pizza. And geodes, which are like rocks but special. And more cats,
girls are more complex than I thought.
stars,
Should we be writing this down?
and video
You're right,
games,
Dragon.
and
Like any
gambling,
problem, I'm sure this one can be
and
solved with
worlds,
comprehensive data and
and
statistics.
mesosphere,
We'll
and
conquer
sea
Valentine's Day by
and
cracking the girl code
and the
once and for
procession of
all.
North Poles.
And spiders and ink pens and classical music and fashion.
High fashion
Oh, that's right.
and K-pop and swords and plushies.
And screaming into the void, and plotting eternal darkness, and questioning existence.
And turtles and riz and pizza crust and really well clipped toenails.
And stargazing, and being tough, and being cute, and being the perfect combination of tough and cute.
And dinosaurs, and chicken nuggets, and knitting.
And rats and genetics and beefing on Twitter and eating lactose when you're not supposed to and jazz. And that's about it.
Well, we've crunched the numbers. Time to see what the data says.
Looks like we're getting a readout now. According to our calculations, girls don't seem to like anything in common.
Well, what does that mean?
It's as if girls have varied and unique interests. Almost like they're individuals.
That can't be right. Run the numbers again.
Wait, we got something. A single match.
The thing that every girl likes is... pictures of Spider-Man?
Spider-Man?
Well, sure, everyone likes pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah,
that checks out. He's pretty cool, yeah.
I do like Spider-Man.
That's about right, yeah.
Hard not to like the guy.
One of my
Spider-Verse.
favorites. I guess that's true.
Fantastic. Don't we love it? This year's Valentine's Day skit. Wasn't that fun? Big thanks, of course, to everybody who was involved. We're talking about the Nova Swarm. We're talking about Alpine Showtime. We're talking about Zenobia, Kohaku, Dian Dog. We're talking about Tomato Master. We're talking about Mana Yu. We're talking about, who'd I miss? Dragon, Neff, myself, everybody who turned up and helped us out. Fantastic little skit. Plus, it was great. I didn't have to work on any new backgrounds this time. We just used shots from all around the station. It was great. That's what we got up to last week. I hope everybody else had a pretty good Valentine's Day too. Now, it's time to get to work, Space Cadets. Tonight, we're continuing our little mini-game project in Godot. The Spacevan Twitch-integrated scroller. As always, tune in, tune out, join Spaceman as he navigates annoyingly obvious roadblocks in his code. Of course, these things happen. Maybe we'll all learn something tonight. Now, let's get comfortable. Let's put on our coding hands here. Let me throw on my proper hands. Arms. Tablet. There we go. Look at us doing work. Doing real work. It's real coding hours up in here. And let's head on over to the big screen, you guys. Here we go. Let me make sure I got Godot open up. Let's head on over here. Here we are, sharing the screen. Fantastic. You know what? Let's switch our audio a little bit. So we got something groovy to listen to, huh? All right, back at it again. It's another Godot stream. What are we gonna learn tonight? What are we gonna do tonight, you guys? All right, so let's revisit what it is exactly that we do around here. First thing we're gonna do, the Spacevan is schmoove. The Spaceman stays schmoovin' rig. Is this the first time you've seen the Spacevan in action rig? I can't recall if you've been to our last couple of streams when we started working on this. Let's review our code here. I need to reactivate something actually because I took off our Twitch integration while we were just testing things out off stream. So let's open up our code here. Let's go into our game manager and let's make sure that we actually connect to our Twitch client. Okay, that's lovely. It usually lands during my stream slot, so I've been mostly absent. Okay, well, check it out. First thing we're gonna do, you guys, we are going to reactivate our redeem. Our move up and move down redeem. So those should be visible in the Twitch redeem section now. I can see them there. Move up, move down, all good stuff. Yes, exactly. Very cheap because we're in the testing phase right here, but you're gonna see how this works. So let's run the game and make sure we've got a good connection. Okay, and we've got obstacles, and we've got stuff, and now, when people redeem the move up and move down diddly-doos, we're gonna see stuff happen. So let's get somebody to try that out just to make sure that it is still working. Look at that. Rig heads straight into an asteroid. Fantastic. All right, but yes, that is connected. That's fantastic. We can move up and we can move down. Things that we have right now and things that we don't have. We have a score counter, which tracks the number of coins that we have. We have a high score counter, which tracks the largest amounts of coins that we've ever had. So you can see when we have coins, excuse me, and we hit something, we lose all of our coins, Sonic style. Very fun. What did we get done last time? We got our asteroids spinning, gave them a little bit of motion. Look at that, big coin explosion. That's fun. But we wanted to add a little more motion to them, especially the coins and such. And the one thing that we implemented was we made it so that asteroids wouldn't spawn one after another. So we had the very, very basic implementation of limits when it comes to spawn patterns. We've since made that more, how you say, intricate. So I'm going to show that off right now. We're going to close this down. Here's what we've done, basically. So we'll start with the coins and the asteroids, all of our spawnables, basically. So what we did was We changed the way that spawnables worked. We've got a ton of code that is now commented out because we're not using it anymore. Spawnables now take a JSON file that is called modifiers. And our modifiers, we'll open up an example here. Package modifiers. So for our coin, for example. Coins have a bob speed and a bob length. They move sort of up and down as they flow. We're going to turn that on in a second just to show you the progress that we've made. Asteroids have spin minimum and maximum values that can be randomly assigned. And we can actually assign them bob values as well. It's pretty fluid. I like the way that it turned out. But here's what I wanted to show off was the development trajectory of the bob effect. So we wanted our coins to move up and down as they sort of went across the screen. And the way that we did that was we implemented this bob method. And we have 3 different versions of it here. They all work slightly different. We can zoom in and show off the code a little better. This first version that we're going to show off, so this is the first iteration that we did. What we did was we just adjusted the position of the collider itself, which we attached the sprite to so that it would move along with it. We just got that to move up and down along a sine wave, so a sinusoidal wave, using Godot's built-in time function. And we're using, what is this? Milliseconds? Microseconds, since the engine is starting. Now this turned out to be a huge value that didn't work for us, and you'll see why in a second here. We try to run. We're gonna save first. We try to run the game. With that sine wave implemented, you're gonna see that our coins, well, they're behaving a little funky, aren't they? Yes, because the measurement in microseconds is just too huge. They're just jittering all over the place, so that wasn't exactly what we were looking for. So we moved on to iteration 2. And what that was, let's show it here, comment this out. For this one, we just implemented in the game manager a global time variable, which just basically ticked from 0 to 360 and then looped on itself. And that's great if we're trying to do a sine function, because that's a small enough number that it works. And that's ticked up by our delta value, which is the time between the last frame, or in this case, the last physics frame that we processed. So we save that and we take a look at it, and immediately we see that it looks a lot better. We got these nice, smooth, up and down motions. Problem is, look at this, they're all moving like at exactly the same up and down rate. We didn't really want that. We wanted them to be a little more, I guess, unique. So we got to our third iteration, which is what we're using now and what we're going to stick with for the moment. What we did was we just assigned a time variable to the spawnables themselves. So now, instead of relying on a global time variable that ticks up, each spawnable has its own unique time variable that ticks up, and we've actually modified the spawners themselves. The spawners now have a time offset value, which we set right in Godot. So you see from our top spawner has an offset of 0, our middle spawner has an offset of 120, and our bottom spawner has an offset of 240. And so what that does is it shifts our sinusoidal wave over, because you remember you multiply, is it like going back to math class, right? You multiply your sine wave to change the amplitude, you multiply or divide the x value of your sine wave in order to change the frequency or the period, and you add on a value to shift it left or right. And so now we see when we run it, look at that! Nice snake-like patterns moving all over the place. That's grand. Look at that. Nice coins moving through space. Fantastic. Taking me back to Python class in college. Yeah, it's It's very rudimentary stuff, you're right about that. But we're having fun with it. Now, something that I saw a second ago, and we might run into another instance of it. Right now, the only limit that we have on our, spawn patterns is we have one implemented. Look at this. So this cross right here, there's no way to avoid the asteroids. We want to find a way to avoid certain patterns, certain more complex patterns, so that we don't run into cases where... What is this track? Where we don't, Back to the jazz, there we are. But we want to find ways to implement limits, as it were. So what we've done in order to make that a reality, and this is what I was working on most of today and a little bit of yesterday before stream. I was wondering where that came from. Yeah, it's a jazz album called Exotica, but it sounds like a very spicy track that we skipped over there. So anyways, the way that we have implemented limits for our spawn patterns is this here. So we've modified our spawn manager. We have created a whole subclass called spawn maps. And spawn maps are derived from a JSON file. So we've created a method to parse data from that JSON file to create our spawn maps. Spawn maps carry arrays of true or false values which say, yes, a specific targetable spawn ID can be spawned here or can't be spawned here. We just compare that to the memory of each spawner, because that was something that we implemented last week. We gave each spawner its own memory so we could remember what it had been producing. And so now we just compare the spawn map to our patterns, basically. And we use that to determine whether or not we should be able to spawn. Hello, Spaceman. Hello, Nep. That happens to me now with jazz and funk. It's dangerous out here. It's dangerous when you haven't listened to the whole album. Hello, Nep. I hope you're well. We're working on Godot streams again tonight. Your beta tester is here. Excellent. I was just showing Rig, the functionality that we have so far. You might notice, here, I'll run it again for you, Nep. It looks a little different. We've got nice, smooth bobs on our coins. We're moving. Head straight for that asteroid. That's what I like to see, Nep. Well done. Heaven forbid we ever try to get above our high score. Oh, danger, danger. Can he make it in time? Nah. There's a bit of lag. Of course, the time it takes for the signal to get through Twitch. But look at this, look at this. Another instance where there's no way to get past that sort of pattern. So we're gonna be making some more limits. Let me show you what a limit looks like for us right now. So, like with the modifiers, I've written this so that we can just pass through a JSON file. So right now, our spawn manager takes a array of JSON files called invalid JSONs, and that converts into invalid spawn maps. And that's what we tell the system it can't spawn. So right now we have two. We have a double asteroid. And the double asteroid, we've got a few variables here which are important. So we have the name of the pattern, we have the spawnable ID that it targets. Zoom in here. We have a Boolean value called multi-row, which tells the game, okay, is this a pattern which applies to multiple rows, or does it just apply to individual rows? In this case, the double asteroid applies to just individual rows. Every row should be checking it. So our multi-row value is false. Flip X, flip Y is telling the game, all right, should you also look for a horizontal or vertically flipped pattern? That makes it easy for us instead of having to make like 2 or 3 or 4 of the same pattern. And then the map itself. So for this one, it's just a row with a true value, which means, okay, the last spawnable item that you tried to spawn and the one before that, if they are both asteroids, then we need to change something. We can't do that. And the solution for that in the game right now is just to replace what would be spawned with an empty value. And that is working for us. Now we'll look at a more complex one. So this is also one that we have implemented. This one's called cross. So again, targeting asteroids. It is a multi-row pattern. So it's looking across all different ones. And our map here actually has values for the top, middle, and bottom rows. For the top, true, false, true. That means yes, no, yes. Middle row, no, yes, no. Effectively, what this creates is an X across the last 3 values in a in our spawner memory. And obviously, this is a much more rare pattern. I don't think we've even seen it try to be spawned on screen, but we're actually going to replace this right now because we can actually make this one a little more, a little easier for us. We're going to duplicate it here. We're actually just going to call it slash. Because this is what we want to do. An X value across like that on a 3x3 grid. There's really no difference between that and just a slash. When we check the slash across its mirrored values. So a slash going from left to right, mirrored horizontally or vertically, is a slash going from top left to bottom right versus bottom left to top right. So what that means is that we can just create one pattern called slash instead of the cross, the very rare cross value, and just tell it to check one of these flipped values. So flipping that slash either horizontally or vertically is going to give us the exact same thing. So we're just going to say flip X, true. Oh, hold on. Looking at the cross right now. I'll look at the slash. Okay, here we go. Flip X is going to be true. We're going to call this slash. We're still targeting asteroids. It is a multi-row. And here's what we're going to do. Okay, top value is going to be false, false, true. We're going to create a slash from bottom left up to top right. So false, false, true, false, and then the last one, of course, should be true, false, false. Envision it like a oh, hello, little spaceman. When did you get here? Also, how did you get here? I keep forgetting that you show up every now and then. Hold on, let me get rid of that. Off you go, buddy. Oh. There we go. Little spaceman, you keep sneaking onto the show. There's got to be some key combination that keeps him showing up something. Every sometimes when I press like S something or another, you have a sort of bind that transport. Yeah. Yeah, we've got something bound. Okay, so we've got our slash set up here. It's going slash across. We're telling it to also check the horizontally flipped value. Now we're going to update our spawn manager. So we're going to take off the cross, and we are actually going to add our slash. Now we're checking for slash values, and we're checking for double asteroid values. But we also need to create limits for some other patterns, as you've seen. Let me open up everyone's favorite visualization program here. There we go. And let's talk about some other limits that we need to create. So, on a 3x3 grid, what do we need to check against? We've got the slash, and it's going to automatically check its flipped value. So that creates the cross that we had before, so it becomes redundant, so that's why we've taken it out. Other things that we need to look out for. I'm glad I thrown Devin out as a possible career. No, it doesn't have to be a career, it's just so much fun. Now we also have to account for the wall. Wall is just 1, 2, 3 asteroids just in a 1x3 wall that comes at us, because that happens sometimes too. Also, why we can't, one that we can't avoid. We have to watch out for that. We have to watch out for something like this, where it's 1 and then 2. Now this one is a really good this makes a really good use case for our flip pools. Because instead of having to then say, okay, we also need one where there's 2 here, 1 here, and also we need to do one where there's 1 here, 2 here, but also we need to do one where, there's 2 here, 1 here. We can just do this one, and we can do a flip X, which would give us this value. We can do a flip Y, which will give us that value. And then we could either flip this one again, or this one again, in order to give us this. We actually have to do a double flip here. Vector made Windows? I did make Windows, yes. Call me Bill Gatesman. What are some other ones that we need to avoid? Alright, we've got the cross, we need to do the wall, we need to do this, like, basically night movement, as it were. I think with those ones covered, that should be all of the impossible to pass patterns. Now, thankfully, the way that we've written it means that we can have JSON values where the row amounts are like variable. What I mean by that is, if we look at our 2 examples here, the slash and the double asteroid. Slash is a 3x3. The double asteroid is a 1x2. We can do any sort of combination we want here, as long as it doesn't exceed the memory size of the spawners themselves. And we even have safeguards written in place in case that does happen. It just throws it. That's fine. How about continuing? Continuing what? We're gonna get to it. We're on it. We're continuing right now. Alright. We need to introduce, what are we gonna call it? We're gonna call it the wall. Let's create another duplicate here. Call it wall. And the wall should have been derived from the slash. Copy these values here. Okay, so it is a multi-row. Call it wall. We don't need to flip anything, and it's going to be like this. Through. 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 Even though these are still considered arrays, and I'm hoping, really hoping that this doesn't throw any sort of error our way. But that is an array of 1 item, and that's fine. Like, let's say you get rid of the night movement section, how about making something that doesn't put another asteroid to make it like a Y shape? Okay, so our when one of these illegal patterns are detected, it automatically makes it so that it doesn't get made. So we're constantly checking every spawner every time that something is spawned. So there should be no case where we can actually generate one of these illegal patterns. Hello, Slimy, how are you? Happy Wednesday! Welcome to the show. We're doing a little Godot stream tonight. Working on our endless space scroller. Alright, so that's the wall. We're just going to run this for a moment because I want to make sure that our wall pattern doesn't throw any sort of errors, any sort of issues our way. let's take a look here. Spawn manager, we want to add another element. We're going to throw our wall JSON in there. Good and chilling after playing D&D with my brothers for 8 hours. That's the best day. Did you win? Did you do good? Were you heroic? Did you vanquish evil? Did you have a good quest? I'm sure you did. We love doing RPGs and stuff. Tabletop and otherwise. Though these days we rarely get the chance. I was the most heroic DM. Ah, I see. You're like me. See, I spend most of my time behind the screen as well, as it were. Behind the DM screen. Yep, saying, see, I'm more of a let's blow up the asteroid and pray the debris from the asteroid burns up in the atmosphere. Hey, you keep that in mind, Nep, because that's a feature that we're looking at working on tonight as well. All right, but let's run this. Let's make sure no errors. I'm just going to keep a look at the debugger here, make sure no errors get thrown our way. Now, when... Thank you, Nep. Going for that high score, I see. When one of these illegal... Like, I'm going to pause it here. And look at our output. When... If you can see it here, you guys. When an invalid spawn gets detected, in this case, it detected a double asteroid. So when that happens, we're going to see here, it must have been here, or maybe one of these afterwards. But basically what it does, it blanks out the would-be culprit so that it doesn't interfere with us. We're going to resume. I'm just looking here to see, are we going to see a wall get formed at any point? And if it does, what I'm expecting to happen is that it will spawn 1 and 2, and then the bottom will be left blank. Because I believe in the code, we do all of our checks from top to bottom. Oh, so look at there. We detected a slash. We detected 2 slashes, actually. So far, I'm not seeing any instance where we can't get by our asteroids. Double asteroid avoided, okay. Ah, shucks, that was a close one. Close one. We're just going to be looking for, in the output here, we're going to be looking for a wall detected. Oh, that wasn't, was it? Don't think so. That was just coincidence. Aha! So there's another one that we need to do. And hold on. Where did you go, game? Where did you go? So I'm fairly certain I saw a cross get generated. So something... Yeah, that was a slash. You're absolutely right. So something has run amok there. So clearly there is some issue that we still have to iron out. Because that was a slash. But we also just saw a new pattern that I hadn't noticed, which was like a greater than, less than sort of symbol. So we need to add that one as well. All right. Let's create a new... Let's look at our slash first. So we are telling it to check by flipping the X value. Let's trace this code here. So we go into R2. I'm gonna look at the spawn manager. Parse. Flip horizontal, flip vertical. All right, let's take a look at our flip functions here, because these are what's adding. So we're replicating the spawn map. We're reversing everything that's in there. When we have just a single row, you know what? This might be a leftover from a change I made earlier in the day. It used to be that all of the single row values all read off of just the top row, but I think I changed that. Where would you be? Where are you? Down here. If multi-row, yeah, now we're assigning them their own specific row. Okay. So that becomes redundant. So we don't have to say if anything. Just going to be reversing everything in there. Okay. I don't believe that's what's causing the flip horizontal issue on our slash, because the slash was already a multi-row pattern to begin with. And how flip vertical works is, again, we copy our existing map. And then if it is a multi-row, show me where. Yeah, that all gets fine. Fine. We don't need to do this check either, the way that we have it written now. That I believe that's causing an issue. We can take out redundant code. So what we do here is we make a temporary array of bools, store our top row, we turn the top row into the bottom row, turn the bottom row into the temp row that we made. We flip them. That's pretty straightforward. I'm trying to think what would have caused that slash to. You know what? I'm thinking about it. What happens if, and you're right, it was kind of like a lambda shape now. And I think that might be the reason that it snuck by us. Because our check code here, or our invalid check, compare memory function. What we do is we check if the pattern array value and the spawner memory value for that spot don't match. And if they don't match, then we consider the match to be false. Which means, hey, go ahead, spawn whatever you want. So our slash is actually causing an issue, or the issue there in the lambda shape. Halo Infinite 35 gig update, what the F? That's news to me. What do they think they're doing? They think we got 35 gigs to throw around? Alright, I think that's making sense to me here now. I'm going to comment a little note to myself here. Presently, not detecting how to describe it. It's not detecting the patterns sort of layered on top of one another, which really is what we should be looking for. So we're gonna have to change the way that we've written this. / equals add a character. Yeah, / is our comments, code comments. Actually, we've had to comment out a lot of what we've been working on, especially in some of these files, because of all the changes that we've made. I've just kept it in the code for now, just because who knows, we might have to backtrack on something. So we need a way to detect patterns that doesn't take into account the entire board, basically. But that said, I think that lambda shape never would have occurred if we had implemented the what do you call that? Like greater than, less than looking value. So I will keep this note to myself here. But let's try implementing some of our other patterns first, because that may actually help us. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to keep duplicating. I'm going to call this one, what is the name of that? Bracket. We're going to call it bracket. Bracket shape is multi-row. We do want to flip it on the X value. Flipping it on the Y value wouldn't actually do anything. We don't need to do that. Now this is just going to be a 2-column pattern. This is part of the reason why I think it would have caught the lambda shape. Because you can't actually build a lambda shape without having, how do you say, the bracket shape and the slash shape. Man, trying to explain things off the top of my head. You know, I've heard that some developers, some coders, they'll keep like a, I think the classic, like a rubber duck or something. And good practice is always like to try and explain what you're doing, what you're coding to this inanimate object, so that you can prove that you understand what you're doing at all times. Just to keep you sane, just to keep you focused, keep you on track. And instead of a rubber duck, you know, I've got space cadets. That's what I've got. Exactly, Navi. You guys are my rubber duck. That's right. All right, let's make a bracket. So, say true, false, false, true, true, false. That's half an X, basically. Bracket goes in there, and while we're at it, we should also make the night which I'm just going to keep calling night because it looks like a night movement pattern. It is multi-row. We want to flip the X and Y value, and we actually want to flip the XY value. So we're actually going to have to change the code a little bit, because I don't think that there is I don't think there's anything in there that's written to double flip. Gonna commission art of myself as a rubber duck. That's a bold and beautiful notion. Yep, I think. All right, true, false, false, true, false, true gives us the night shape. Now we need to go into our code. We need to change spawn map flip, horizontal flip, 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 flip. Yep. Let's see. Okay, so when we load spawn maps, if the parsed file has flip x true, then we return the flipped value. Okay. We can write this a little more cleanly. give it to you to randomly put in your next video. Nice, I love that. All right, so we need to write something that says if flip X and flip Y. So basically, instead, what we're going to do is we're going to make a nested if statement. Instead of this, we're going to say if parse dot flip X. So if that value is set to true, then we're going to check. But you know what? That relies upon that relies upon one of them being before the other, so we're not actually going to do that. We are just going to make a final if statement. Say if parse dot flip X and parse dot flip Y. This album contains like 80% of the tracks from the old Dr. Tran Flash series. I don't know if any of you guys remember that one. Okay, so if flip X and flip Y, and we are going to return to our return list parse dot flip horizontal dot flip vertical. So we are going to add a flip X, flip Y, and if they're both selected, then we're going to add a vertically flipped version of the horizontally flipped version. And that should cover all our bases for the knight and any other goofy shapes like that. Alright, let's go back to the game engine. Make sure that's working. Alright, we need to update our spawn manager with these new shapes. We added 2, so we've got to add the knight. We've got to add the bracket. Alright. Save it. Next step, make it 3D. Yeah, behind the wheel. And we're going to run it, and we're going to hope for no errors. Got connection. Colliding. We just avoided a double asteroid. That wasn't a wall. Alright, we've got space between here. We're looking for any space where we can't get through. I'm seeing a lot of double asteroids being avoided, and those are the most common, I think. Another double asteroid. Okay, we can get through here. Technically. Now, because of the delay... Oh, detected a knight and avoided a knight, so that's good. There's a slash! What is causing that? That was just a slash on its own, and it didn't get detected for whatever reason. Is that the only one that we can't avoid right now? Double asteroid, double asteroid. Another double asteroid detected. So we've seen one knight get detected. Double asteroid. No walls detected yet. Another double asteroid detected. Show me another slash. That seems to be... Oh, hold on, and look at that. That's a upside down knight that didn't get picked up. Why is that? Alright, so that's gonna need to be worked on. And unfortunately, that's not real exciting stuff to work on. So I'll probably try to do most of that off screen. Alright, but in the meantime, we can work on some other stuff. A little more fun stuff. Let's see. So one of the issues that I'm having with it right now is when we move between lanes like this and up and down and what have you, it's very static. But look at that. We also have instances where there's coins that we can't get to. We could probably do something about that as well. I'll have to add that to. But when we move up and down between lanes, it looks pretty kind of lame, right? It just goes whoop, up and down between the different lanes. I would like to make it look like the Spacevan is like tilting. Another upside down night that's not getting detected. So we're gonna have to work on that. I'm gonna have to work on that in the off hours. Okay. So we want to change the way that the Spacevan moves. Here's what I want to do. Right now, our Spacevan controller moves the van during our physics process. Which is based on whatever van lane that we're in. The van lane is controlled by either myself with the false inputs, or you guys via the Twitch controller. What I'm thinking of trying to replicate is like having the Spacevan always be pointing toward the lane position that it's trying to get to. So it will like smoothly move between lanes. That's the goal. The first thing we're gonna do to try and get that function working, I'm just gonna try and get the Spacevan to follow the mouse around. What we're gonna do is within the... We'll just put it in here for now. We're gonna create some sort of method called like look at target. And make that method. Look at... Let's fill that in, shall we? We need to get mouse position. Leave that input. Mouse. Cursor. We do dot screen. Viewport dot. Get screen transform dot. Let's consult the documentation. Let's see here. Sometimes you just gotta look things up. Okay, Godot. Mouse position. Input coordinates is a function of oh, it is for the viewport. Okay, I was almost there. I think we're reconnected. I think we dropped off there, Space Cadets. I believe we're back. Gosh darn space webs, I'm telling you. Alright, so what we're doing right here, right meow. We're getting our mouse position so that we can tilt the Spacevan to always be looking at the mouse, and then we're going to translate that into a position on the screen that is fixed, that will allow us to smoothly move the Spacevan up and down between lanes. Oof, oof indeed, yes. We're back, though. We are back, aren't we? You let us know if we're back now, because it tells me that we're back. We back. We absolutely back. Alright, so here's what we're doing. We're getting the mouse position so that we can tilt the Spacevan toward it, and then we're going to take what we've learned here and we're going to translate it into pointing towards distant positions in our lanes so that the space van sort of like moves slowly, fluidly up and down between the different lanes. That's what we're going. All right, so got our mouse position, and right now we're just going to change this to say this dot spacevan, or this dot rotation degrees is equal to what do we want here? We want a vector to look from angle. Oh. We want to get an angle. Going to give us related to the given angle. Now, this is what we used for the spinning stuff. We need to do like the exact opposite here. Have a heading. We want this. Go and nearly interpret it. Is that the hell diving spaceman? It absolutely is, Meg, except we're not hell diving tonight. We're doing different stuff in space, actually. We are continuing to work on the vector space van. Endless scroller. We're still ironing out bugs, but we've got stuff going on. We're looking to make the movement a little more smooth, a little more fluid. You know, right now you can actually control the space van using the redeems in the chat, the move up and move down redeems. I believe it is live at the moment. You can use the, for example, move down. Get them coins, as it were. Look, Meg's going for the high score. Oh, can you avoid those? Oh no, we got another unavoidable, stupid, dumb pattern there. See, that one should have been erased with the limits that we just implemented, but for some reason it's still being a pain. You can see, like when we collect coins and what have you, then we go and we dive bomb straight into an asteroid like this. They explode like Sonic. It's nice and cool and fun. But yeah, that's what we've been working on for the past couple of streams. We're going to continue working on it. Right now, we're trying to make the up and down movements a little more fluid. I mean, Vector is in hell and diving in his coat. Well, that's not inaccurate. You're kind of right about that. Okay, we need to get angle from 2 locations. What we need to do is do that. We need an angle between 2 vectors. What we need. And sometimes we have to revisit what we know about math. We need an angle to a point is what we need. That's how Gamedev writes it. Okay. So we need to say don't love using vectors, isn't that on? Vector 2 dot angle to point. No, not from angle. We need an angle to a point. How are we going to? Oh, what am I looking at? This just in the GD script. That GD script, man. C sharp. C sharp. Really does feel like being back in math class. I gotta tell you. A function. That was not what we wanted. You know what? It's probably derived from a specific point. So I've been trying to call a method through the class. What we need to do is say...
Live from
What the
Harbor
heck?
Station, it's a Vector Spaceman show!
Thank you,
Now
Jamie.
here's your host, Vector Spaceman!
I think I hit some hotkey while I was focused on OBS, and it switched our scene, is what happened. Okay, make sure we're over here. Alright. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna say this dot position dot angle 2. Yeah, that's a method I was looking for. So it's derived from the position itself, not from the vector class. All right. We are just all over the place tonight, you guys. Okay, we need to get. That's going to give us a float value in radians, and that's important, you guys, because radians suck. We have to convert that to rotation degrees. Do that. What are we going to do? Is that a math function? Math.rad to degree. Yep. We convert those radians to degrees, and then we can say this dot rotation degrees is equal to rad to degree of this position angle to the mouse. Now, fingers crossed, the Spacevan should follow the mouse around when we do this. Okay, yeah, look at that. Except, all right, there's a bit of a problem there. You guys can tell what the issue is. Do you guys know what the problem is? The problem is that the position of the Spacevan considers itself to be 0, 0. So that's actually up in the corner here. So if we go like this, then the Spacevan moves around like it should, like we would expect it to. But the problem there is that the Spacevan is not actually... That looks actually pretty rad. Because the collision is actually hitting all the stuff outside the lane. That's funny. Beyblade. Yeah, so the problem is the Spacevan. I'll show you what I mean here. The Spacevan script is right down there. Okay, so its transform right there. Maybe I was wrong. You know what it is? It's because... Is it because I was using this dot position instead of this dot transform dot position? No. A transform is a node 2D. Yeah, okay. What's the problem there then? Dot transform dot, we can get X and Y value. What's the problem here? What's the beef? Mayday, mayday. Wait, that's standard airline travel. What is it for space travel? Is that the Vector Space Van? It absolutely is the Vector Space Van. Riding again, once more, let loose into the vast depths of space and the internet. Okay. Relative to the node's parent. The node's parent, in this case, is the main. And the main is set at 0, 0. That's sort of the root of our scene tree. Alright, how can we solve this problem then? Because the space van is what the script is attached to. I don't think that should be a problem. This dot position dot. I get an absolute position or something? Global position. That's going to be from anywhere, presumably. Look, we can get the global nose position. Oh. I don't know if that's going to be useful. We'll see. So right now we can get global position dot angle 2. Yeah. Now slap it right back where it was. Okay. Let's give this one a go. No, so it's still considering 0, 0, the root, to be our position. Simplify these. We do. Fix that. I want the mouse to be able to go anywhere for the nose of our ship, basically, to follow it. How are we going to figure this out? You can see when we move up and down, the nose tilts. That's kind of what we want. We're going to be setting like an invisible plane out here somewhere that the ship can follow. Sort of like looking ahead as it moves between lanes. You know, as one does when one's driving. You know, you don't look right down at the road in front of you. That's dangerous. Okay. Problem is that our position, as far as it can tell, it's like way out there. And I'll give you an example. Right now, the position of the Spacevan is 91 by 120. We were just like fake this. Say 2 vector 2 by 120. That would work. Oh, hold on. Okay, so maybe I'm starting to think that something else funky is at play. Because even with that simulated value, we're not getting our expected solution. And in fact, let's throw it out even farther. So 200 by 200. And is it still thinks the 0, 0 value. where it's at. All right, what's the deal then? We just say maybe this dot rotation, and let's take out the radians to degrees business. Even though I prefer working in rotation degrees. That should still give us, okay, still gives us the exact same issue. That's comforting in some way. It means we haven't done anything to ruin it. I think it might have to do with the mouse position. Not the Spacevan position, but the mouse position. Turns the mouse position in this viewport using the coordinate system of this viewport. We don't really have a viewport, do we? At least in the way that Godot considers it. Could we say something else here? Say... viewport and the side, no. Viewport or no. I think I found a Florida man weakness? What's that? What's that, Nep? What's got you down? What's got you flustered? What's got you weak? Oh, salt. Let's see. Effective use of La Chancla? Is that like tossing a sandal at somebody or something like that? I'm not fluent in Espanol. But I was pretty sure it was like whipping a crock at somebody's head. Take it on spin. Global mouse. Not just tossing, but using it as an extension of your body. Be used in acts of defiance on your kids, or like acts of education. Isn't that the idea? You know, life lessons. Isn't that the idea? You see, the most powerful chancla wielders can substitute any blade with their chancla. While you were partying, while you were out having a good time, I was studying the way of the chancla. I need a consult documents for global mouse position. second. Scares me, bro. Studying the way of the chocolate just means your mom caught you sneaking out to the party? Studying might not be the right word. You're being taught a valuable lesson, but studying might not be the right word. I was a goody two-shoes. I just like to game all day. Well, that's easy to get by, you know? Very passive. Just gonna need to drag this over here for a second. Look through another file. Are you kidding me? Simple. Here's what I think we've done poorly, done wrongly. Alright. We are still going to be working in rotation degrees, because we love rotation degrees. Because radians make my head hurt. We're going to take this position. It's not angle 2. It's a point. Ah, the distinction here. There's the angle between the line connecting the 2 points radian versus show this angle 2. What does angle 2 return? The angle to the given vector in radian. So the angle to the vector versus the angle between the line connecting the 2 points, which is what's important. And boy, that can be confusing to keep in your mind. Okay, and our mouse position is what we're still looking toward, and that is correct the way that we have it written. So, fingers crossed, this should work. There's no real reason that this shouldn't work. It's already goofy to begin with. Oh, we forgot to convert to degrees. That was my bad. See how it was moving ever so slightly there? It's because we didn't convert it to degrees. Radians, 2 degrees. So weird tracking. Skip this before we get demonetized. Jazz. Okay. 50th time's the charm. We've got this. Hey, there we go. Okay, the space van is following our pointer. Bam! We're hitting stuff. So now basically imagine that we put the like future sight line like way out here, somewhere like here, right? So now when we move up a lane, it'll sort of move into position. We change the lane target down here, it'll go like that. So what we're actually going to do is we're going to make it so that we're not just moving up and down anymore. We're going to be moving toward our targets based on the rotation of the space van. So we're going to be rotating toward the new target. We're going to be applying a force from the back of the space van that is based on our rotation and our speed. And it's going to look nice and smooth. Okay. We've got a proof of concept there going. That's good. And I knew we had it. It was just this goofy terminology, man. Angle to points. Not angle to, angle to points. How to remember that, Spaceman? I'll write it down here. Always remember. Angle to point. I won't pay attention to that. You can't teach me how to use this system, Spaceman, because I can't read. Alright. So that's our look at target. What we want to do, actually, is sort of translate our rotation. So we need to make sure the Spacevan has a rotation speed. Right now, we have a speed, just the speed for moving up and down. We're going to have to give ourselves a rotation speed. So let's do that. Export value, another private float. Rotation speed. So this is going to be the number of degrees that we can move per second. So what seems like a nice rate? Let's start with, say, 90. See where we go from there, huh? Sounds good to me. So what we're going to do then is we are going to change look at target. We're going to rename that to rotate. And rotate is also going to need to be passed through our delta double, because we need to know how much to move based on the amount of time from the last frame that we calculated. Alright, so what we're going to do then, instead of mouse position, we don't need the mouse position. What we're going to be looking toward is actually the position value of our lane. So this is why I built these with X and Y values when we redid the van lane. So now we just have to say, all right, how far out do we want our Spacevan to be looking? So if we say like out here-ish, say, is the X value. So that's like 300, put it at like between 300 to 350, something like that. Let's put it at 300 now. So the position on these, and the X value is really just like a phantom position for the rotation value. Our movement is done on the Y-axis, our looking is done on the X-axis. I think that's even represented in our move van function. We're only adjusting the Y value. As you can see, our X position stays the same. The Y position gets changed to the position, the Y value of the van lane. Okay. So that's good. So what we're going to do then is that we're going to change our angle to point from mouse position to this dot van lane dot position dot X. Although, no, we don't even need that. We can just say this dot van lane dot position. Yeah. We do want that point. So now, when we load this again, check this out. Now it really jitters like that, like it immediately looks toward, because we haven't implemented rotation by time just immediately snaps to be looking. But that's already a nice, smooth transition between lanes. Now we just need to work on the rotation start. So, what are we gonna do, Spaceman? Well, check it out. We are going to rotate, we are going to move toward a value. So instead of saying the rotation degrees is equal to this immediately, and that's why it's snapping on us, we are going to say this dot rotation degrees is equal to move toward. So this means we're going to move from a value to another value and never exceed that value. We're going to move toward, which is different from linearly interpreting because that's based on a weighted value. So it's like, it can look nice because it like smoothly gets to it. But I think because we're moving, we'll see. We'll see whether we want to move toward or lerp toward it, but right now we're going to do move toward. Alright, so we're moving toward, our first value is this dot rotation degrees. And the second value is what we already derived. So the target value. And what's the problem here? No overload for move toward takes 2 arguments, right? Because we need a delta. And that is going to be our delta that we just passed through, multiplied by our rotation speed. So this dot rotation speed times delta. But we gotta cast that as a float, as always, because it's math F that we're performing. Alright, let's see how that looks. Our rotation speed right now is 90. That immediately looks better, doesn't it? So we go up. And beyond. Now, it still looks a little goofy because the center of mass of the Spacevan is like, how to put it? It's like somewhere around here, where we really want it to look like it's being propelled from the big jet on the back of it, right? That would make more sense. Can we get by this? Although, I just noticed there, I also like if we hit 2 lanes down successively, it takes a real fast pitch. But here's another thing I don't like, and this is why we're going to be implementing this new way in a second, is if we go down and then up again, like it like jerks back down. You see that? Like we got hydraulics. And not that I don't love space hydraulics as a concept, but it does look a little janky, doesn't it? Same if we're going like down and up again. Doesn't really work. Doesn't really work. So in order to fix that, we're going to change the way that the move function works. So the rotate is working fine. It'll rotate, it'll do its thing. We need to change the way that the movement occurs. So what do we have right here? We've got an if statement. We haven't been into the move method in a minute. It looks like we're back, though. Once again, I'll be relying on our wonderful space cadets to tell us if we're back. Yeah, this seems redundant, the move van if statement. Just take that out. Back, thank you so much. We're having rough webs here tonight. This is not a great day for streaming. That's space webs, I'm telling you. It's that deep freeze that got us frigid the other night when our furnace went out, the heater died. Alright, so just to prove that that if statement didn't make a huge difference, we're gonna see that, yeah, everything still works, everything still bounces. Jeep, 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 space hydros. Okay. So that's fine, we can get rid of that. Oh, we gotta change the way that we move here. So instead of just moving up with a fixed rate, I want to move up or down based on the rotation that the Spacevan is presently in. And we're going to move up or down faster or slower based on like how close we are to the target. So it'll look like it's being linearly interpreted, but it'll actually be kind of a sneaky cheat. So here's what we're gonna do. We are still gonna be moving toward the van position. You know what we're actually gonna do? We're not even gonna... I guess we can have a negative value because we might have to slow down at some point. Here's what we're gonna do. So this times speed times float delta times, we want the angle as a ratio of our maximum rotation, which I believe we have here, don't we? Yeah, we have a rotation speed. I guess we need to set a max rotation. Okay. Then our maximum rotation will effectively be our maximum speed. We're completely tilted. Then we'll be going full speed, and when we're slightly tilted, we'll be going slight speed. Alright, so let's make another export value so that we can change it in the inspector. But we're going to say private float, max rotation, and what should that be right off the bat? Let's say 60 degrees, maybe? And we can always change that through the inspector if it ends up looking funky. Okay, so this times speed times our delta. Gonna multiply this first by our present rotation. So this dot rotation degrees divided by this dot max rotation. That's going to get multiplied by our speed. So if our rotation degrees are presently, let's say, 60 degrees, so that's our maximum rotation, then 60 divided by 60 is 1, so we'll be moving at full speed. If, for example, our rotation is in the negative values, then we'll actually be moving down. We'll be moving away from our target. That can happen if we're making, like, last-minute adjustments. We'll have to, like, go down a bit and then course correct and come back up. So that'll probably look pretty cool. All right, we're gonna save this. Going to test it out. now... Okay, we're moving down and away and forever gone. Okay. The reason for that is what? That was not as intended. Let's see what happens if we pitch down. Okay. We're going toward the... That kind of looks like what we want. Now let's pitch up, but we're still going down. Okay. We're sliding off the screen forever and ever. That is not what we want to do. Because... we have to make it an absolute value, I suppose. So if we say f dot absolute, our rotation degrees over our max rotation, this will work, but I don't think this is exactly what I had in mind. Let's see. Move up. We move pretty slow, actually. Down. Down again. We're really going to have to pick up the speed, I think, because that's way too slow to be good for any sort of gameplay, right? But look, we can, like, tread between lanes. Alright, I think that we need to slow down our rotation speed and increase our max rotation. Probably increase our speed as well. So this is why we put it all in the inspector here, is we can make quick adjustments. So let's change our speed to 200. Our max rotation is going to be say 70 degrees. Our rotation speed is going to be 180 per second. So that, or no, we should actually lower that? Yeah, because 90 was pretty, say 60 per second. Push down, push up. Our speed could still be increased, I think. Our rotation speed could still be well. Oh, narrowly dodging that there. Might have to make the asteroids smaller as well, because we are hitting them a lot. Or the Spaceman smaller. Shoom. Okay. Let's increase speed to 300. Let's increase max rotation to 80. Yeah, that looks. You can see, this is kind of what we were going for. Nice, smooth transitions between planes. And we are still seeing a little bit of, like, you go up and then down. Get some of that space hydraulics looking stuff. Which is kind of a shame. For most gameplay, it's not bad. Might still increase the speed. We go from 300 to 500. Getting like a real hiccup up in Increase rotation speed, I think. Change that to 80. Let's change speed to 600. It's not bad. Swift. Still getting these patterns I can't get. That's something that I'm going to have to work on off stream. Get our bob and spin effects going. We're getting a lot of these night shape patterns. The reason that we're like pitching up like this is we're changing lanes, which is telling us to look down there. Saying, hey, look back up here. Could be as simple as the difference between we need to add like some sort of rotational velocity. For the most part, I'm liking how this looks. Can't get past it. We're about 2 hours in here. Now, let's work on something else that I wanted to implement. This is a little more fun. A little more fun for the whole family. Oh, he did see this. Hey, Buffy! How are you doing? Yes, it's the Space Van. We're working on making it a little smoother. Our movements. Our different spawn patterns. Hope you're doing well, Buffy. We're just about to work on our first power-up for the game. We're going to be making a little missile, since we can't get past some of these spawn patterns at the moment. And I'm going to have to work on that off-screen. We're going to make something that maybe we can use tonight to help us get through those. Great job already? Well, thank you. We're looking forward to adding some more stuff. You can actually control this through the redeems in channel. For example, if we wanted to avoid asteroids, we'd move up and out of the way. Look at that. And if we wanted to do the same thing when we're about to crash into an asteroid there, we'd move down and out of the way. Ah, good job, everybody. And we go for that high score. Could we beat it? Looks like we're close. Only 6 more coins to get. Oh, see, this is another thing I want to implement, is like a warning system. Like when oh, you did it, Buffy! You took us to the next high score! Well done! Alright, now, we can't get past here, but watch this. Bwam! Coins go flying. That's fun, too. It's nice to see coins go flying. Buffy got that high score. Well done. You know what? You know what I should implement? Because here, check this out. We can see on our debug screen here all the information that's coming through. So, if, let's see here. We scroll up a bit, we can see Space Buffoon was the last person to redeem one of those move up, move down redeems, right? So what we could do is we could read from that, and we could put like a name over the high score, so that anytime that there is a new high score, whoever was the last person to move the Space Van gets treated as the new high score person. Sort of incentivize people to keep it moving and keep trying for high scores more. You know, to be the pilot, as it were. I think that could be a good idea. Maybe we'll do that next stream once I get these illegal patterns figured out. That's a night pattern, that's a slash pattern, and we have all of these included in our spawn manager. Slash, true, 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 yeah, so it's just not registering that, and we do flip that on the X, which is the same as flipping it on the Y. So why it's not tracking that, I'm not sure. In that same vein, can we blame the last input for when we take damage? I guess we could do that too, yeah. Put it up on the wall of shame. But here's something that I wanted to implement as well. We're going to go into Video here. Let's make ourselves a new spawnable, you guys. And this is going to be one that actually originates from the space van, as it were. We're going to be making ourselves a little missile that we can use to take out asteroids. So we are going to open up one of our pre-existing packages here. Let's say that we copy the asteroid. We'll just duplicate that, and we're going to call this missile. The missile knows where it is at all times. Okay, we need to change some of the values here. So the ID on this is going to be missile. It's going to be active. We're going to remove its modifiers because it doesn't need any modifiers. We need to change the sprite. And we already have, in our sprites file here, a power-up missile. We were just waiting for the right opportunity to use, am I right? There's our little missile, our wee little missile. We're going to have to change its collision shape. Let's give it a rectangular shape. Go. It's fun. Okay. There, sprite. Okay. So we've got our sprite, we've got our missile, our wee little missile. Now we have to give it some logic. So what do we want here? We want when a missile collides with an asteroid, it explodes the asteroid. Are we going to have to create a... Let's see. Got a spawnable script on here. That's good. We might just be able to modify... Let's see here. Let's go into our spawnables class. What do we have written here for asteroids? So when our spawnables collide with a player, then we check player collisions. I think that what we might do then okay, well here's what we can do. We can just say what I do then. We can sort of duplicate this function here. If the body is in what would we call it? Missile group. Because I don't want to put the missile in the player group category. I don't think that's a good idea. Speaking of which, we should do that. Oops. Shoot. Asteroid group or coin group. I think the only groups that we have are player and destroy right now. Which works for me. Could make a spawnable group, but right now we don't have a functional need for it. Swig. Alright, so we'll add this to the missile group. We might rename this at some point. But we need like a class of... We could call it power-ups. Power-ups might be better. But we can have multiple groups, so we'll just call it missile for now. So when a spawnable collides with something in the missile group, then we need to do something. We need to say... So we should be creating more groups. For example, we could call our asteroids obstacles. We could call our coins collectible. So when spawnables collide with a missile, if they're coins, shouldn't be a problem. So that's why I decided to distinguish the coins from the asteroid. And I didn't want to be calling them by ID. That's messy. So that's why we're going to create more defined groups, especially as the game continues to grow. The mini game continues to grow. Not that it'll ever be a game, but the mini game can get bigger. You know. All right, we are going to say that if we collide with a missile, and this is an active spawnable, which means it's being affected by other collision bodies. Actually, this should actually be put in the on area. Yeah. Because I don't believe the missile even has yeah, it's just an area 2D. It doesn't have a body in the same sense. Alright, so we're gonna retool this code a little bit then. If area dot is group missile, and this is active, if this dot is in group obstacle, something that can be destroyed, we want to engage this destroy function, this explode. There we go. That's why we have that built into the spawnable class. That's something that really, I'm not loving it here, but it's working for us right now. So we're just going to say this dot explode. And the number of for the exploding to is going to be, we really should have like a default debris count. Let's say private count equal to basic value of 3. This to be an exportable value. Edit it in the inspector. Then, because I know why we had this here before, We used to call this from a Spacevan, actually. We'd say, if we run into an asteroid, and we explode the asteroid, we eject it. Going to change that from value defined in here to value in the spawnable itself. Debris count. Because it's private. On public int. Go. Should work good. Back here. Start debris count. And an even better way to do this would be to keep all this information in like an XML or a JSON or something like that. We could load it at runtime or when each spawnable is instantiated. But this will work for now. I want to explode it. Exploding already takes care of freeing the queue. So now we need a way to launch a missile, basically. And that's going to be accomplished by the Spacevan. Let's create a method called launch missile. Put it here under the other Twitch stuff, because we're also going to be looking for Twitch IDs for this. We're going to say public void, and really this would probably be private void, be public for the moment. Public void launch missile. Right now we're not taking any parameters, but maybe in the future we might keep that open to something like launching multiple missiles at the same time, something like that. Alright, we're going to say... what are we going to say? First of all, we're going to have to store a packed scene in the Spacevan. We already have dead coins. We're just going to create another missile. There we go. We're going to have to set that in the inspector, drag and drop, nice and easy. I like that about Godot and Unity and stuff like that. Drag and drop, visual, very good. Alright, what we're going to do is create a spawnable that is our launched missile. We're going to say this dot missile instantiate. I'm going to say spawnable missile is equal to this dot missile instantiate past and spawn. Go. Now we can edit it and what have you. Say missile dot hello Squiggleton and friends. Welcome to the Vector Spaceman Show with me, your host, Vector Spaceman, live here from Harbor Station. We are working on a little Twitch-integrated game tonight that we're playing here on the stream. It is the Vector Spacevan. Check it out. Doing a code, Squiggle. Check this out. All right, let me just finish writing this here. Say missile dot add sibling. This. Okay. Let's go back to Godot here. We're just working on making new power-ups. I came with the raid. Well, welcome, Benrick. Thanks for being here. You know we appreciate it, and of course we appreciate our friend Sir Squiggle. We do all sorts of stuff here. We do animation, games, music, and now game development, all sorts of stuff. That's what the Vector Spaceman show is all about. We've had 2 crashes tonight. Our webs are not doing great. What language are you using? Well, right now we are using C#. This is the engine that we're using right now is Godot. It's our first time using Godot. They have their own proprietary scripting language called GDScript. I don't love GDScript. I prefer using C#, so that is what we're using. Thankfully, they have support for that. It's not always the best support, but it gets the job done. Yes, I know. Oh, well, look at you. Look at you knowing stuff. Why not GDScript then? I just don't love GDScript. I just prefer C#. I know C#. I do not know GDScript, and we're just tooling around making little mini games. So we're not looking to, to learn proprietary languages. I don't love proprietary languages to begin with. Anyways, here is how the game works. Basically, we've got the little vector space van. It flies through space. We pick up coins. We dodge obstacles, that sort of stuff. You know, very basic, very simple. Move up and down the lanes. When you run into stuff, you explode with coins all over the place. We still need to implement like a damage system. But you can actually control this by using the redeems in the chat. Move up. Bam. Look at that. Move down. Wait for it. For it. Bam. Look at that. Uh-oh, better move out of the way. Real fast, real fast, real fast. Oh no, it's still clipped us. Anywho, that's the basic functionality. Our high score has actually gotten up to 32 thanks to the enterprising efforts of the Space Cadets. Right now, we are working on a little power-up system to remove obstacles. That's what we're doing. Making a little missile. The missile knows where it is. The missile knows where it's going. Head first right into that asteroid, Squiggle. That's what we love to see. Now, we have implemented a very basic spawn map system that keeps us from creating like hazards that we can never get past. But unfortunately, we're still seeing some of them spawn. So that's something I'm gonna have to work on off screen, I think, because it's less glamorous, it's less exciting. All right, stop your spending because I'm gonna shut that down. We're working on the missile. So we actually want to add something to the missile before we even get it instantiated here. We want to... Oh, were you still spending, Squickle? So check this out. So we want to add a... particle system. Stick it right at the tail end of the missile there. Want this to be, let's see here. This is material, we want a new... Go, we're dripping, as you can see. We want to change that. So, change some... details here. We want to... Single... No. Want... Rails. Trying to remember how we set this up for the space van. Let's take a look at that as a reference point. Where was our rotation? Our direction under velocity. Okay, that makes sense. Not the good kind of drip? Yeah, no, not quite. It kind of looks a little lame, doesn't it? But what we're going to be doing is replacing it with with our own little sprite here, our own little smoke, basically, following behind. Flatness, velocity. Man, I remember how we set this up in the first place. Show me a 90-degree. Be it. Is it a matter of gravity? Let's see. Spread. Velocity, no. Shape, no. Oh, and we are on an ad break. Whoops. It looks like we're back. Okay, so many options here. Okay, is it the gravity? Change that to 0, as one does. Scale? No, that should be set at 1. We'll probably be messing with the scale curve, though. Need. Is shooting at the back somehow. How are we going to get that working? One spread, no. Did he know? Any of this. No. Texture, lifetime speed scale. It's down here as well. What? Down. Texture and time. Do you want to pre-process? Well, actually, we might not want to pre-process it because when it gets instantiated, we want to start speed with smooth, sort of move up to a speed. Minimum velocity. Useful intensity. Okay, there we go. We set this as the exact same values. Set our spread to something like 20. Okay, now you can see we're pew 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 pew. Spewing particles out the backside. But we want to change this to be an actual texture that we can use. We've set up beforehand. So our texture is going to be these little smoke effects. So boo 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 boo. Look at that. Look at it go. We want the sprite to be over top of the smoke, I think. If we were more enterprising, we would have animated the flames. This looks okay, I guess. Okay, now we know what we're doing. Let's change the size. Velocity, no. is the scale. 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 We are. Okay. So over time, I want these to get smaller. We're going to create a curve texture that says smaller as it goes. Yeah. Actually, like that. And there we go. That's a nice looking missile, isn't it? It's a good effect. Okay. How does that look if we actually put it in front? You don't see the. I think I prefer that. And in the future, maybe we'll animate it so that we get a little flicker on the flames. Big missile, yes. Okay, so that's all set up. Got our package, our missile. Now we need to instantiate it. Now, missiles are spawnables. Spawnables, we can change their speed. These are all classes that we've set up, so we can change it as well. So when we launch a missile, we're going to create the missile. We need to set its position. We're going to say, because this is coming from the Spaceman. For now, let's just say missile.position equals this.position, so it's going to spawn right on top of us. And we could set up like a missile spawning station and define it like an attach that to the Spacevan, so inclined. I think that would work pretty well too. But for now, let's just get function out of the way, working. Work on making it look good later, okay? Alright. Man, this reminds me of messing around in Flash and Color. Nice. Well done, well done. I made an Asteroids clone, but made it Pokemon, which was kind of fun. That does sound fun. Mini games are great. See, this is something that I think we could run, like, during ad breaks. Or, like, during loading screens or something like that. Or just something dumb that players can tool around with, try to get their name on the high scoreboard, that sort of thing. You know? You know? Alright, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to spawn the missile, we are going to add it to the tree, or even while just chatting. Yeah, exactly. Just little stuff, little stuff. I'd love to get, you know, like, friends of the show on in the background, like, flying by, or even give them their own little mini games, that sort of thing. You know, it's funny, Buffy, because you really came to mind while I was working on this, because I was thinking, like, Buffy does these lore streams where it's like little exploratory adventures and stuff like that. I think especially in like a pixely style like this, like making a little Buffy adventure game or something like that would be really cool. That would work really well for, you know, your style. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Reminds me of old like Shockwave games, that sort of thing. The Lenny Loosejock style of game, that sort of stuff. Alright. We make the missile, we add the missile, we reset its position. Now, the missile needs to move across the screen. We can set its direction. We can say missile.direction is equal to vector2.right, so it'll move right across the screen. Say that missile.speed is equal to, I don't know, what are asteroid speeds? Asteroid speeds are, take a look. Oh, you know what? It's not under asteroid, it's under the spawner. What are our spawner speeds? Spawner speed is 100. Maybe we want like 150, something like that. Move a little faster. So that speed equals 150. But here's the thing. I would prefer for the missile to like speed up as it gets launched, you know? Like it's coming out the tube, like it's really getting fired out there. But if we were gonna do that, then we would have to change the way that we do spawnable. And that's easy enough. Here's what we're gonna do. Spawnable. Go into the spawnable class. We're just going to create exportable private pool ramp. And what ramp means is the speed going to like increase or is it going to immediately go full speed? So if we go into Godot, and we're gonna have to adjust all of our spawnables at this point, so we're gonna have to go into asteroid. Do asteroids ramp? No, they do not. Okay, that's fine. Coins also do not ramp, but missiles are going to ramp. They are going to speed up as they are spawned. Just from 0 to their desired speed. And that means that spawnables are also going to need max speed, which is what speed really should be. Should we break that into like velocity versus max speed? So most of our spawnables get spawned by spawners. We've never had this issue, though it's not a hard one to solve. It's clumsy, but we can solve it. So we're just going to say speed. We're going to rename that max speed. Go and create current speed. Yep, private. Don't need anyone else to alter that. So now, when we move, we're actually going to make this a little more complex. I'm going to say, make a method for it. Private void move. So this would be our code here. We're going to enhance it. Move is going to need to pass a value. That's our time between last frame. Okay. Stop position plus equals dot direction times dot speed. That's not what we want. We actually want dot current speed. If we're ramping. That means we need an acceleration value. Well, for stuff that's ramping. Let's see. Public float acceleration. And what we're going to say is that if ramp then we're going to say this position plus equals basically what the this dot position direction times this dot current speed times delta cast float. Very good, but now we need to define what current speed is. Say. We need to say Spaceman. We need to increase current speed by our acceleration. You can tell it's getting late. This easy stuff is blowing my mind. Alright. This dot speed, current speed, plus equals this dot acceleration times delta cast as float. So per second. Speaking of late, I do have to be up for work tomorrow. Then get on out of here, Squiggle. Have a good night. Have a good night yourself. We won't be very long. We're gonna get those missiles firing, and that's gonna be it for us. See you, Space Cowboy. See you, Squiggle. Take care. All right, we're increasing current speed, and we need to make sure that it doesn't exceed our max speed. So we just need to clamp it. Say this dot current speed dot clamp. Oh, actually, say math f dot clamp. Value being this dot current speed. The minimum value is going to be 0. The maximum value is going to be our max speed. Easy peasy. One little line, that's all it takes. Okay, that gets clamped, that's fine. Otherwise, if we're not ramping, then we just do this, yeah? Now, the smart thing to do would be to change the way that spawners work, so that they don't assign max speed, they assign current speed. But who's got time for that? It's late at night, so this will work, and I'll fix this later. We can even leave ourselves a little note. Make more clean and elegant. Easy peasy. Alright, so now we can ramp up to a speed. That's what we like to see. Now we just need a signal that will let us create a missile. Now missiles will disappear, and they hit our like collection area. got this border around here, so even though they're flying off to the right, they'll eventually hit this, and then they'll be queued for deletion. But ideally, I think we'd want to have them disappear as soon as they hit an asteroid. Maybe in like a little explosion or something like that. Make some more sprites for exploding effects, so that we can show the Spacevan getting hit and stuff like that too. And then maybe we could work on another power-up that like lances through multiple asteroids. So this one we want to be destroyed as soon as it hits another asteroid. As soon as it hits an asteroid. Another planet that is in the obstacle. So we can adjust our spawnable file. Area end. So if this is in the missile, and if this is obstacle, then the obstacle explodes. We like that. We can write another statement if collision area is in group obstacle. This is active. Our missile will be active, primed and ready. If this is in the group missile, then we just queue this for delete. That should work. I hit one. And we can just test that out by just manually placing a missile on the screen in the path of a asteroid. See what happens here. There's a missile. When it hits an asteroid, what's gonna happen? Need a asteroid in the... There we go. Here comes one. Okay, perfect. No explosion. You know, that's something we're gonna have to work on. But that works. That works kind of perfect. Alright, so now we need to create a redeem for the missiles. And that's not hard, because we've already kind of got it set up. Let's review our Spacevan code here. We have already got signals that get triggered when we redeem different stuff. Let's first of all just make sure that we can fire locally. So let's change like the space bar to fire off a missile. How's that? We can say we basically do our get false input. Still gets called, right? Yeah. But good, okay. Yeah, we can use this. It's not where it's supposed to be used, but we can use this for now. So if input dot is action just pressed, we're gonna have to create a name called space bar. Then what do we want to happen? We want to fire a missile. What do you call it? Launch missile, right? Launch missile. Launch missile. Go. Okay, in order for this to work, we actually have to make an adjustment in Godot. Go into Editor. Have to. Project settings. Input map. Create a new action. Let's spacebar. We're going to give it a keyboard key. Listening for the space. Very good. Okay, now let's see what happens. We're going to launch this, and if everything goes well, we are going to launch this. Did not. Okay, why did it not? Check our bugs here. You know what it is? Before we even look at this, I know what it is. We did not assign our missile to the Spacevan. Object reference not set to an instance. Exactly. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. Load up our Spacevan. Yeah, we've got an empty missile. Need to define our missile. Bam. We also, I don't believe, set the acceleration here. Need to say missile.ramp. That should be, you know what? It's already set. Package file, so that's fine. Say missile dot acceleration equal to how fast do we want it to speed up? Let's say, I don't know, 60. And we can tool around with that. All right, now we should be fine. Let's give it a go. Not getting bugs. Let's fire a missile. Got a bug. What's the matter? Data dot parent is null. That's a pain. Parameter data dot add sibling. Oh, because it is itself so high up on the tree? Can't create a sibling? Is that what you're telling me? Data dot parent. I mean, we could add it as a child, I suppose. Or we could create a spawner. Oh, wait. Wait. I know what it was. We had that wrong. Look, this is how I had written it. I said missile.add sibling this. That's exactly the opposite of what we do. We wanted to say this.add sibling missile. Doi, Spaceman. Ya goof. Alright. That makes more sense. Alright, missiles away. Bam! Look at it go! And it speeds up, and is it gonna hit anything? Didn't hit anything. But that means that we can fire missiles. So we're gonna pitch down here, and we're gonna bam! And it just... Okay, why did it... Oh, I know why. Because we hit... That's why we need more clear indicators. We hit it before the missile. There is a little launch time, which is cool. That's actually great. Now, look at that. Missiles away! High score, here we come. That's fantastic. And when they get off screen, like you're gonna see it go all the way past here, they will get deleted by the collector. Now I'm seeing a lot of errors still. What's the matter? Can't change this state while flushing queries. Use call defer. Okay, for the... For which one here? There goes everyone's tax dollars. That's right. This is what we get for playing too much Helldivers. Complete fiscal mismanagement. Okay, call the explode. Let's see here. On collision. for the space van. Let's go into the spawnables. That's what so all bird. Bird call? Call deferred. String method is explode. Parameters. This dot. What was it? Free count. Good. All that that we're getting. Oh, let's see. Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. Pew 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 pew. Yeah, no more errors. Even though it wasn't a huge error, it's still nice to have that sorted out. Now, when we're like pitching up and down, it might be cool to have the missiles fire like at an angle, but at the same time, that kind of seems like it would get frustrating. So I think we'll just keep it. All them. I think we'll just keep it going laterally. Pew, pew, pew. Oh, but we still get roasted. Okay, so let's Twitch enable this then, shall we? Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go into Twitch. We're gonna activate the launch missile redeem. Hey, it's almost like we knew we were gonna get around to this at some point. Okay, now I'm gonna run the game, and what I need somebody to do is redeem the missile. So we're gonna run the game, make sure we got a good connection first. Okay, we're connected to Twitch. Somebody needs to redeem the missile. Or even I can do it, to be fair. Let's see. Missile, launch missile. There we go. Oh, Buffy did it. Okay. Perfect. Let's stop the game. All right. Well, we don't get ahead of yourself, Buffy. It's not gonna work yet. It's not gonna work yet. Buffy, it's not working. No, it's not gonna launch any missiles. We still need to connect that. But what we needed was we needed to get this information here. So you can see we've got all sorts of info, or you might not actually be able to see. But there's all sorts of information that comes through when somebody redeems through this WebSocket connection. Yeah. So we've got the name of the user ID, that's me, and their username, person who redeemed it. Did you know that that's your user ID right there, Buffy? That anybody can see that? Don't worry. That's not useful for me. But this is what we're interested in right here, is the reward ID. So that's unique to each and every Twitch redeem. So we need to make use of this so that we can listen for it. So anytime that we get an event with a reward ID value of 405, AEOB, 7B, AO, etc., we know to trigger our launch. So it won't just be when we press spacebar anymore, it'll be whenever somebody uses one of these. So let's go back into our code here. And this is why we were reviewing the Spacevan code. This is where we keep all of our Twitch stuff. We're going to create another public void launch missile Twitch. That's going to be string ID. It's going to store the value there until we get around to implementing it. Okay, how do we do this? We need to create a signal. Let's see. So we had to connect Twitch input to changelane Twitch. Game Manager client. open up our game manager. From the Twitch client. Connected. Okay, this was made into a video object. Okay, so we had to emit a signal. Signal name.twitch input, right? Need to create a new. You know, we can probably just read from that. Because they're still redeeming, we can use this signal emission. Listener clear, listener get, listener, that's all fine. What is it emitting? It is emitting Twitch input. Which is our Twitch event handler here. Parameters it's sending out. Board ID. Okay. Spacevan, we should be able to say. Stop game manager. So to be fair, what we should do is set up like a switch condition. So we should just edit this, change lane Twitch. We should change this to call it something like Twitch input. Oh, but we don't want to do that because that's the name of the connecting signal. Call it parse Twitch redeem. There we go. Very good. So, if, etc., etc., we're going to change these if statements. Could really just make, we can make this cleaner. I see this repeated code all over the place. What are we gonna do? We're gonna say public void being called from anywhere else. Move up. Public void down. Up code, down code. If inputs are regular chain stuff. Let's see. We change based on false input. If the input's up, then we up. Follow this. Down. Oh, that space was in. Okay. Same here. We're going to change this from a bunch of if statements to a switch case. So switch based on ID. Some cases. What's the syntax for switches? Done this. Which cases? Right. Got it. Parentheses, we got that. Case. Do something. Break. So let's say move up. Create another case. Down, thank you. Okay, next case. We're gonna borrow this here. Into regular old launch missile. And break. All the messy code we saved. What? I think I just lost some of my information because I copied and pasted the thing. Hold on a second. We can sort this out, figure out what's what, so comment that out. Let's go figure out what is what here. Back into the game. And don't worry about anybody doing redeems for me, I can just do this from the console. Let's see. Alright, so, move up. Move down. Launch missile. Very good. Okay. That. Buffy's getting anxious. Buffy wants to fire some missiles. Alright, move up. Spaceman down a lane. Okay, this is move it up a lane. This here. That's right. Good. Okay. Move down I think was fine. We just need to fire off a missile. There we go. Bombs away. Bombs away, Buffy. Okay. I believe that should be everything we need. So let's go back into the game. And let's see what could be done here. We're just gonna let it run. No issues so far. I'm giving you the con, Buffy. You think you can take us to a new high score? Oh, better get out of the way. Oof. Well, we only had 2 points. Okay, we're launching missiles and nothing's happening, so let's stop launching missiles so that we're not wasting points. Figure what the issue is. We're seeing bugs come through here. Whoa. Do a little debugging. Function in this node can only be accessed from either the main thread or thread group. Use call deferred instead. Okay. Alright. Threaded programming. See if this works here. Keep an eye on the debugger. See if we have any bugs coming through. You can fire when ready, Buffy, and we'll see what happens. Oh, there it goes. We've got it working. There they go. We've got missiles away, and it's all from Buffy. Spending mad money, mad coins on them missiles. Hey, there you go. Is that the strat? Just straight ahead, missiles away. That might be it. It only costs 1 coin to send a missile. And of course, that's for testing purposes. But that would be why, you know, we up the price. Just power through. Exactly. Here, go for the 33. Am I right? Make a new high score before we shut it down. Now, we've got other power-ups planned as well. I've got a magnet that's going to go on the front of the space van to sort of suck in coins, make it a little easier. I got a little bubble shield I was thinking of using to maybe keep you from losing all your coins. So we got ideas. So close there, Buffy, so close. Beep, 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 beep. Isn't that a fun little missile? Just spitting smoke as it goes. Beep, 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 beep. We really need some sort of explosion. All right, well done, Buffy. Look at that, we got a new high score. Boing! And a big explosion of rings, of coins. Fantastic. Welcome back, Nep. You like what we got going here? Good job, everybody. A new high score, 35. Well, that was a pretty productive evening of game dev, don't you guys think? I mean, look at this. We got missiles away. We got a more fluid movement. Only problem is we've still got these impassable... What do you call them? Spawn maps, basically. Spawn pattern. We are really going to have to get into the code and figure out what's causing that issue. But that's not fun to watch. So that's going to be something I do on my own time. Alright, you guys. Great jorb tonight. So cool. Hey, Bonnie, how are you doing? Activated a grid, and I don't know how I did that. Alt tabbing. Grids. Shoot. Figured that out. Great job with all this. Well, thank you so much. Like I said, once I get this one done, I want to make some more mini games for like friends of the show, so that we have like a whole little, you know, break time arcade sort of thing that can all be controlled through Twitch. That's the important part. I want to make little mini games that can be controlled through Twitch. So we got to think of ideas for how to make games that that can respond through Twitch. That's why I was thinking like one of the next things I want to implement is like a warning sign. Like a beep, 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 like a little red like triangle or something that pops up right on the edge when an asteroid is coming, so that people have more of a warning to get out of the way. Because I know that there's a delay between the inputs and the response, right? What we want is think of ideas for mini games that can be played through little redeems in action. And we can actually control stuff through text in the chat. We can control stuff through emotes as well. So like channel emotes can be used to do certain things. And we can even activate and deactivate sets of redeems depending on what game is up. So when we launch this game, we can tell Twitch, hey, I need you to activate, you know, the move up, the move down, the missile, whatever else we need, or even create new redeems on the fly. Problem is that there's a limit to the amount of redeems that that any channel has. I think it's 50 or something like that, which for most people is probably not a problem. But the one thing you can't do, you can't set the images for redeems through the Twitch API. So you'll see on the redeems that we have, like the move up, move down, and the missile, they all have their own little icons. That's because I set them up beforehand. But we couldn't set that up on the fly through the game. We can activate or deactivate them through the game when it runs or when it clicks. But we can't, like, have them, like, dynamically made with those images stored somewhere. the little things to take into consideration when we're designing this stuff. Anywho, that's enough for one night, don't you think, you guys? Let's head on back to the station here, and let's get it ready to close out the evening. I don't wait. Take my hands off. Stretch out a bit. It seems like we've gotten a pretty positive response to the stuff we've been making here, so I like that. I hope people will enjoy it. It is just sort of a little time killer, time waster, that sort of thing, but you know, it's getting me motivated and reinvigorated about game dev. And on that note, I will remind you guys, this is something that I'm looking at participating in at the moment, is the Just for Laughs Game Jam, hosted by friends of the show, Game Grotto, Meg and Don. Indie game developers themselves. So they're going to be doing a game jam at the end of March into April. April 1st is the cutoff, I believe, for humorous little games. They're going to be streaming their whole process during the weekend, the last weekend of March, I believe, and are inviting everybody else to participate. So that's something I'm thinking of doing as well. Maybe get a team together or do something on my own. We'll see. I'm very excited for doing my first little game jam. I think that could be fun. You guys think that could be fun? I think that could be fun. Alright, but speaking of fun stuff, we're going to be back next week, you guys. Same time, same place, right here at Harbor Station. Until then, of course, I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in tonight, wherever and whenever you are. Let's set up a little raid before we take off for good. Don't you think that's a good idea? I think that's a good idea. Let's see who's streaming here tonight. Any friends of the show? I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go say hi to our friend of the show, Indigo Radio, who's playing a cool new game called Nightingale that I've had my eye on. It's like a little survival, crafty, explory, collectible type game, but in like a fairy type setting. So we're going to set that up right now. Let's do that. Indigo Radio. Everybody, be on your best behavior, say nice things, represent the Space Cadets well, shall we? We shall. All right. Until next time, you guys, no matter what life throws your way, good luck and Godspeed. This is Vector Spaceman signing off. Stick around for that raid. We're about to send you off for some more great content for your evening. Take care, everybody. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye.